Hello, welcome to Modernize's webinar, where we'll be showcasing our fall 2021 homeowner survey results. With this fabulous panel, we'll be presenting and discussing the latest homeowner survey data that we've collected. So ideally, you can better plan for the months and weeks ahead and grow your business. Make sure my slides are working. Perfect. We have two incredible speakers for you today. First, I would like to introduce Patrick O'Toole, who is the co-owner and content chief of Qualified Remodeler. I'm going to give him the floor in a few minutes. We're also joined by Megan Wolf, who is also part of my Modernize team. She is our enterprise client manager and strategist. She has been with our company for over 3.5 years, and we are just honored to have her today. I'm Cassie Morian. I'm your extremely loud moderator for today. I serve as senior content strategist for Modernize, and I'm also our lead homeowner insights analyst. If you are new to Modernize, I just want to provide a very brief introduction. For more than 15 years, Modernize has been a leader in the home improvement and services industry. Our job is connecting homeowners to contractors and other service professionals. We operate currently in 15 high-value, high-consideration home segments, and that includes kitchen and bathroom replacement, windows, solar installation, roofing, siding, you name it. We like to think that we do it. Last year, we were acquired by Quinn Street, who is a pioneer in delivering online marketplace solutions to match searchers with brands in digital media. And I would like to kick this off to Patrick, who's going to tell us a little bit more about Qualified Remodeler.
Hey, thank you, Cassie. I really appreciate being here. Megan, thank you for being part of it as well. Just a little bit about Qualified Remodeler. We're a leading media brand that serves remodeling contractors around the United States and home improvement professionals as well. So we go out and print to 83,000 plus readers nationwide. And then we also have reached to thousands of more online through our weekly newsletters, our social media channels, and an event that we're putting on next week called Top 500 Live. That will be in New Orleans. And so we really do reach out to the entire remodeling and home improvement space. QR is also well known for its annual ranking of the industry's largest firms. It's called the Top 500. Our parent company, of which I'm co-owner, my business partner, and I own Solar Group Inc., which publishes media brands for the kitchen and bath designer, as well as architects and custom builders. So yeah, glad to be here, Cassie.
Patrick, thank you so much for joining us. Thrilled to hear your insights and expertise over the next, hour. Also worth noting, we're giving away a Yeti cooler to one lucky attendee today. Our team will be drawing a name in the background while we're presenting, and then we'll announce that at the end and get that sent to you for ice cold, whatever you want to drink. So today we're going to talk about our latest survey and a little bit just touch on methodology, and then we're going to go into some trade specific highlights as it's relevant to your different businesses. Adriana, I see your note just really quickly, and I believe you are muted, at least for me. I can't hear anything. Awesome. Okay, so just briefly about Modernize and how we find these survey results. So every week we survey thousands of Modernize homeowners across the United States. Our goal here is to learn their latest project preferences and pain points, and that allows us to create better content, have better conversations with our contractors, and create a real resource hub for these individuals. The data we're going to show you today was collected in September and October, like literally this month of 2021. And in all, we surveyed more than 6,500 homeowners.
Cassie, just a quick question here, just assuming this question might come up with the group. I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what a modernized homeowner means.
Absolutely.
Just a little bit about, yeah, I thought that would help.
Yeah, thank you so much, Megan.
Yeah.
So once a homeowner, great question. So once a homeowner has come to modernize.com and signal that they're ready to begin their project and partner with a contractor, they enter in our Homeowner Resource Center, which is really this free hub that allows them to see their matches, better plan their project, play with cost calculators, read articles. And it is within this hub, once they have started their project, that we're able to surface these questions. So when we say modernize homeowners, they're actively beginning their project and ideally meeting with contractors and remodelers. And so it's not just surfaced like on Google or on our website if someone was just coming through for organic SEO. Great question. All right, so here we go. Last year, we know homeowners ourselves really grappled with this pandemic, this shelter in place, this incredibly turbulent time that we're still weathering. And the home improvement industry, while we faltered and wondered what was going to happen in the beginning, quickly experienced a boom. And so more than a year into this turbulent time, we're seeing homeowners continuing to seek projects. And our goal is to kind of get a baseline pulse on what that looks like, quarter over quarter. So we asked homeowners in this survey what additional projects they plan to complete over the next 12 months and their interest in doing so. So from these 6,500 homeowners, 39% signaled that they plan to pursue additional home improvement projects in addition to the one they're coming to Modernize for. So if they're coming in for a roofing project, we're like, are you going to do additional? So we've been asking this question for a little over a year now. And if you're looking at this number and kind of pausing and thinking, oh, that doesn't seem really high, I have a couple of survey stats just to reassure us here. So in Modernize's large annual survey, which is conducted between April and June, so that was April and June of this year, we saw 41% of homeowners signaling that they are going to continue making additional projects. In December and January, so December 2020 and January 2021, this was actually at 38%. So from my data analysis where I sit in the company, I find this incredibly promising. I think it shows really steady interest from our homeowners, especially quarter over quarter as things continue to change. Interest seems to be the same. My first question that I'm going to kick off to our brilliant minds is, how do you feel about these numbers, and how do you kind of predict the next year will look for our professionals?
Megan, I'll let you go first.
Beautiful. Thanks, Patrick. And I think the thing here that's most encouraging to me, and I think the key piece of this, is the word additional. Given the context Cassie provided in terms of how we collect this data and what a modernized homeowner means, homeowners who have come through Modernize to get a home improvement project done are typically completing large projects. So things like, a window replacement job, an entirely new roof, a new HVAC system. These are typically more expensive and higher ticket sort of home improvement projects. And so to me, like hearing that, hey, like 40% of people who have already undergone a project of that, magnitude and scale on their home are actively pursuing additional home improvement projects on top of this home improvement project that they've already inquired about and are in the process of completing. To me, I think the additional piece of it is what's most encouraging, and says a lot about kind of where homeowners are at and the strength that we're continuing to see in the home improvement space throughout the remainder of the year.
Megan, thank you. Patrick.
Great, Megan. And I'll add on to that a couple of points. And, we obviously at Qualified Remodeler pay very close attention to consumer demand. And there are a ton of indicators out there, some of them conflicting, but most of them very, very positive for the present time. I mean, we see remodelers out there right now with problems about backlog. The backlog meaning that they have taken contracts and they're ready to move on those when they get the materials and when they complete the other contracts in line. So very long backlogs is common amongst remodelers of all kinds. And so home improvement guys who do windows, roofing, siding, gutters, decks, sunrooms, as well as full service remodelers who are doing big projects. So, and we're talking about kitchens and baths and whole house, room additions and those types of things. So every part of the industry is very, very strong right now. All of them experiencing backlog, which means high consumer demand. And I'll just add a real quick thing about where this demand is coming from and why it exists right now. First of all, there was COVID, and it changed behaviors, and that's really what is being researched right now. Is there a greater share of wallet, so to speak, amongst all consumers right now for home improvement projects? And I believe that shift is underway. A similar shift historically occurred in the late 70s, and it was related to a lot of very different forces at the time, but people began to spend more on their homes. And I think that's what we're looking at right now. So as we go long term and we look at this demand, it is a larger share of wallet from people. And here's the second factor: rising incomes. So when you put those two together, rising incomes, a greater share of wallet, maybe even valuing home more, you start to see what we're looking at right now, which is a long-term trend towards more remodeling and home improvement activity.
Patrick, thank you so much. That also cues us up for our next stat, talking about a whole look of a home. So of our near 40% of homeowners that signaled, yes, I plan to do additional projects, we immediately followed up with, okay, what do you plan to pursue? And this is our breakdown. 26% signaled that they plan to pursue outdoor projects. We consider this patios, decks, fencing, pools, driveways, which I think is really in line with everything we've seen as a result of this pandemic. More people spending time outside, hosting events outside, and having that be a safe space. 19% said they'll pursue additional large exterior projects. For us, Modernize, this is our bread and butter. This includes roofing, HVAC, solar, siding, a lot of we consider once in a lifetime or twice in a lifetime projects. 20% of our homeowners said that they're going to pursue interior remodeling projects, including kitchens, bedrooms, bathrooms, just as you said, Patrick, additions. 15% said cosmetic projects, including flooring, carpeting, painting fixtures, really beautifying their home. And then we asked for the first time here, we don't know if we'll continue to do it, but we wanted to get a pulse on like critical projects, as we're calling them internally, which is mechanical, electrical, plumbing additions to their home. And then there's always this 12% other, which as I sift through all this data can confirm, it usually falls into one of those categories, and they just really felt compelled to write it in. So again, we don't have to spend a ton of time here, but Megan and Patrick, do you find anything surprising here or want to note to our professional audience?
Well, I'll start this time, Megan, and I don't see anything surprising here. Considering very closely the cohort for the survey and where they are in the spending part of the timeline, they're ahead of the project. They're inquiring at this point, and then you guys are Modernize is putting out the survey, so it makes sense to have this kind of a breakdown. We are seeing among our professionals a broader swath of projects. A lot more big projects would be represented in this pie if we were to put up what our group is seeing at the time, and that's both remodelers and home improvement professionals. And when people talk about the R&R market, they're talking about remodel and repair, and a lot of these projects fall under the repair side of the ledger, I think. And there's a ton of that activity going on right now. There was a ton of money that was put into the market by stimulus checks. People are getting raises. People are spending more time at home. They're just fixing things. The real interesting part for me and for our audience going forward is those bigger projects, and how long will they maintain their interest level amongst consumers. So nothing too surprising here. This is representative.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And I'll piggyback off of your comment, Patrick. I don't think anything here stood out to me as super surprising, but potentially an opportunity to for those remodelers that offer maybe like a larger suite of products that they can sell to consumers, potentially an opportunity to continue to mine for, hey, maybe you have a Windows appointment for this particular homeowner, right? But also trying to understand, like knowing that we're seeing this shift in additional spending in the home, just mining for those opportunities essentially to remarket to your current customer base, knowing that there may very well be interest in completing additional projects outside of what they initially inquired for. So I think in terms of like what our audience might use to action against some of these insights, I think that's a helpful consideration to have in mind.
Team, thank you so much. Patrick mentioned repairs occurring right now. And so our next stat, coincidentally, is about homeowner motivation. And so for our attendees here at Modernize, we passionately believe that homeowners motivation is really core to our business. Understanding why a homeowner is coming to us to pursue their project is really essential so we can create the best experience, and we want to share that knowledge with you so you can also create the best experience. Addressing a homeowner's need to repair or replace a roof or an HVAC can be a very different conversation than a homeowner who's looking to save money by replacing their windows on utility and electric bills every month. So here is our current breakdown of how homeowners are responding. 43% are coming to us, the largest share, trying to repair a home due to an emergency and or damage. And again, this is all across trades. 37%, which I feel is, also really significant, are looking to save money on their utility or electric bills every month. 19% are seeking to increase the value of their home. And in this question, the survey, we actually asked very specifically if a homeowner is making improvements because they want to sell their home. This question crops up every now and then amongst our team. And we found just a measly 1% are looking. So this, I feel, also signals that homeowners are making improvements to stay in their current safety zone. So our fabulous panelists, we know motivation is pretty critical to Modernize. How can this information benefit our contractors and professionals?
I'll go ahead and kick this one off. So I think something that stands out to me actually is the percent of homeowners wanting to save money on their electric bills as a primary motivator. I think it's expected that people are completing home improvement projects for repairs, and not to say that the motivation behind utility savings is unexpected necessarily, but I think it's something that may be underutilized in terms of the value proposition that home improvement professionals are putting out through the entirety of their sales and customer acquisition process. And so I see that as a huge opportunity to lean into that. Again, some of these are expensive projects. It can be a little bit of a fearful undertaking for homeowners to take on in terms of like planning and from a budgeting perspective. And so I think you can lean into the energy savings aspect of things can kind of help move those sales conversations forward. So to me, like that was like the stat that was maybe not surprising, but maybe like underutilized within the industry.
Thanks, Megan.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Megan. And for us, we do watch very closely the motivations, and for contractors out there right now, I think when they look at these stats and they see this information, they're not surprised by it. And I think most of them are pretty sophisticated. They have a process in selling or even qualifying their leads in a way that they're determining this information right up front, and it's shaping and shifting how they sell. So very consistent insights here on homeowner motivations based on what we've been seeing in the survey. And I think that the contractors do really value having this information and are able to utilize it, and they get it up front.
Thank you, team. All right, our next insight is obviously we care about how much a homeowner plans to spend on their upcoming project. So this question is very specific to the project they are currently pursuing. This isn't necessarily tied to their plans over the next 12 months. So the majority, well, 46%, not the whole majority, are planning to budget $2,500 or less. And then we have 26% saying less than $5,000, 15% less than $10,000, 7% between $10,000 and $15,000, and 5% over $15,000. Keeping motivation in mind, to our fabulous panelists, what can contractors and professionals do to leverage this? I know, Megan, you just mentioned in two different instances. One, if you offer a suite of projects and you're dealing with a homeowner who wants to save money on their electricity and energy bills, it seems like that could be a really natural conversation to say, this is your budget, but if you spend X, you could actually save this much more.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Cassie. That's where my mind is headed, but Patrick, I'm curious to hear what you think.
Yeah, no, Cassie, you nailed it. And Megan, I'll just jump in real quick before and make a couple comments and let you go after that. We look at the market in terms of big projects and small projects by following a forecaster that has entered the market in the last 10 years. They're called John Burns Real Estate Consulting, and they look at activity over $5,000 in revenue, and then activity below 5,000 in revenue. And when you look at the entire country over 5,000 in revenue, that's a really big aggregate. And that's where you get the breakdown between repairs and remodel, as we talked about that before. So, your question to us, the group and the panelists, was, how do professionals increase the size of the project? And really, the way we look at it, there's distinct segments within the contractor population. Full service folks who do everything. They repair a screen door. They do big room additions. They design stuff. There's design build, and they just do high end. And then there's kitchen and bath folks who mostly do high end. And then there's home improvement folks who do repairs, a lot of repairs, and they also do improvements as well. And those are the replacement type products that we see a lot. So very nuanced approach to all of this. And so when I look at these numbers, for me, I think that a lot of the contractors out there know their target audience. They know what they want to get, and they're either going to take these size of projects right now, or they're not. And they welcome them. They have a system for being able to accommodate a quick turn on a repair. And then they have a system or process to take a big job too, if they're full service. And so all of this happens in the sales process. All of this happens in the lead gen process, where they're qualifying their appointments and their sits. And so when I look at these insights, I think this is exactly where a lot of the market is right now. They're spending to get some repairs. They want some numbers from pros, and the pros out there that we encounter every day. They're pretty sophisticated. They know how to handle these inquiries, and they know how to get more money for them, or possibly refer them to others in their market who can handle their project. So long answer, I apologize, but there's a lot there.
Patrick, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're going to keep talking about cost for just a couple more minutes. So in past surveys with Modernize, we've actually seen upwards of 80% of homeowners signaling that they would like to seek to finance some, if not all, of their upcoming project. In this most recent fall survey that we just conducted, we saw a slight decline of this. So 67% of homeowners are saying that they want to finance some, if not all, of their upcoming project. And this is a breakdown of how our homeowners are approaching this, where you have 34% saying that they would like to, finance everything, but then a really strong 33% saying, no, I'm not interested at this time. I feel like financing is still important as my role close to homeowners and what they have signaled, quarter over quarter. I've been here for 3 years. Panelists, do you feel like financing is important as for our contractors to offer? Anything you want to comment on here?
Megan, I'll let you go first because I was a little bit long-winded on that last one.
No problem. Thanks, Patrick. I think for me, we consistently see that offering different financing solutions is definitely a key piece to winning as much business as possible. And to some of the points on our earlier slides, it could also be a tool for increasing that average project size, and also potentially an opportunity to educate the market a little bit about what sort of solutions and options are out there. Cassie, I don't want to spoil, but I know you have some stats coming up on the percentage of first-time home buyers versus forever people in their forever home or second-time home buyers. I think there may be an education element to this for homeowners who might be newer to the home improvement process, who might be newer to the home buying, journey or stage in their lives, may need some education from the pros out there in terms of what options are out there. in regard to financing. So I think to me, even though maybe we're seeing some, changes in responses quarter over quarter, I still think it's a vitally important part to the home improvement world. And I think also an opportunity to kind of educate homeowners about the options that are out there. Patrick, I'll kick it off to you.
Man, that was good. That was very complete from my perspective. The pros out there, particularly in the vertical that's home improvement, so those replacement projects, they're very sophisticated in regards to financing. They use multiple vendors for offering financing, and they do that for a number of reasons to, because it's helpful to get the business, of course, when you have more financing options, when you're in front of the consumer, perhaps in their home or over a Zoom. But it's also a very important profit center for a lot of home improvement companies. They use financing to increase their profitability. So it's a little bit aside from that. But when we look at homeowners out there wanting to finance more, I think it's very consistent with the environment we're in right now. If you can get a very low interest loan, and then you can keep your money somewhere else, perhaps in equities, stocks or whatever, maybe you do that. So people have money, they can buy things, certainly, but when financing options are available to them, as you said, Megan, they might buy more, and they certainly will consider all of their options. So it's a really important tool.
Patrick and Megan, thank you so much. As Megan mentioned, fabulous attendees, we do have data on our home ownership of our modernized homeowner and also age. So we believe we're sharing this because we feel like this can also help your business create a better in-person experience or virtual experience for your homeowners when you're meeting with potential homeowners. Educating a first-time homeowner on our side, content side, is very different than speaking to a homeowner who's enhancing their forever home. And so of our 6,500 homeowners that we surveyed, this is our breakdown across trades. So 32% are first-time homeowners, 26% are in their second home, 9% have signaled to us that they own multiple homes currently, and then 33% are in their forever home. We also, in that same survey, followed up with can you tell us your age? And the majority fall 51 years old and older. So we see panelists the most first-time homeowners coming to Modernize, as well as people living in their forever home. How should contractors, remodelers, professionals perhaps wield this data to create maybe a stronger sales pitch or materials?
Hi, Megan. I'll try to keep it brief. And I love this topic. It's really important. Demographics are critical. We're at a real shift here demographically in the home ownership part of the economy right now. The remodeling market and the new home market have been driven for the last 40 years by the preferences of baby boomers, and that's the largest cohort. And you see that showing up in the 51 to 60 plus buckets on this screen right now. These folks are driving the market and have been driving it for a very long time, beginning with, say 1978, when they started buying starter homes in big numbers with that big cohort. What we're seeing now is a shift, and your data here shows it, to a younger cohort. So these are folks that are Echo Boom or millennials or even Generation Z, and they're entering the home market. They're owning homes, they're renting homes, but they're owning them as well. And the thing that we want to understand here is, what are their buying preferences? What do they want out of home ownership? And there are some significant differences. So smart contractors out there are really digging into this. They're finding ways to market themselves to younger homeowners. And you're seeing a lot more attention to trends like green and sustainable and solar and electric cars, and putting in the batteries. So it's really a changing market, and the preferences of younger folks are really, really important because they're beginning, as you can see, to drive the market.
Patrick, thank you.
Megan, Yeah, the only thing I'll add to that is I think this also presents, and again, I think the remodelers out there and home improvement professionals are good at doing this and in learning more about their potential customers even before the sales appointment happens on these initial appointment setting conversations, if you will. But I think this represents a really strong opportunity to learn more about your consumer from the point where they're putting that inquiry in with Modernize, or making the phone call directly, to request an appointment or to get a service project completed. Is just paying a lot of attention basically and asking a lot of questions to understand more about that customer. And I think those folks that are in the first time homeowner category, that presents an opportunity to approach the sales conversation a little bit differently versus someone who might be in their forever home or who might be on their second home. I think those forever home and second time homeowner folks are more likely to have completed a large home improvement project before, and therefore be a little bit more educated about how the process works. Versus a first time homeowner, you might want to approach that person with a little bit more hand holding. They might need more education about how the home improvement process works. I think an analogy that I use for this frequently is, when you first buy a car, you might be a little more nervous about it. It's the first time you've made a major purchase like that in your life potentially. And it just requires a little bit more, education and hand holding maybe to kind of get, that person comfortably throughout the entire process. And so in addition to like the demographic shifts that Patrick referenced, I think this also presents an opportunity to, learn more about your potential customers as soon as possible, and then sort of tailor your approach based on what category or demographic category that person falls into.
Megan, thank you. Yeah, I believe yesterday when we were in our rehearsal, you mentioned like how much you have to lean on that car salesman that first time. And we would imagine it's the same thing for these new homeowners where they're really going to need to trust their professional to like see them through this project.
Exactly. Whereas someone who might be in that like, oh, I've been through this process a bunch of times, it may be more of a transactional approach in a way where they might be a little bit more of a competitive scenario versus someone who's doing this for the first time. That sort of like more tailored approach or a little bit more hand holding can be helpful in those situations.
Thank you so much. So for our attendees, this most recent stat actually isn't in our ebook that you'll receive after this webinar. After we closed out this survey that we're presenting on, we actually launched another one. And so this was about the upcoming off season. Last year, we predicted, with everyone else, we're not like unique in this, but predicted homeowners would spend less time traveling. It was the thick of the pandemic. We were coming up to winter and more people, we were already seeing a focus on home improvement. So this year, I would say just from where I'm sitting, I would have predicted a dramatic shift in the other direction, more traveling, less improvements, people wanting to go hug their, parents. So this is the result of 1,400 homeowners being surveyed, and we learned that 77% said they will not travel this upcoming holiday season, so 2021. In addition, we followed up whether they said yes or no and said, are you going to begin or continue additional home improvement projects? And 56% said they would for this upcoming holiday season. To just put that in comparison to our trends, like this survey year over year, last year in our Weathering the Off-Season ebook and survey, we saw 76% of homeowners not traveling and 55% wanting to continue home improvement projects. So I mean, like, in line, if anything, this is higher by a mere percentage point. And for Patrick and Megan, my question is to you is, I know we're not quite into winter yet. I think we just kicked off fall, but do you have any predictions for this upcoming off season and how professionals should best prepare for the winter ahead?
All right, I'll kick this one off. Firstly, Cassie, I want to say I love the picture you guys chose here. I feel like my suitcases are looking similar. I haven't done a lot of traveling recently, so just wanted to kick things off with mentioning that. And I'm with you, like this stat really surprised me at first. I had a similar feeling where, I myself, like for the first time in a while, like have some travel plans lined up for Thanksgiving as an example. So definitely surprised to see that, maybe, this year is going to look more like last year than we thought it would be. And in terms of how home improvement professionals can prepare, I mean, Patrick already referenced this. We're kind of in the midst of an overall like home improvement boom. And I think this is a signal that like, hey, this is not stopping anytime soon. And I think it's also a key to kind of lean into this typical like off season for the home improvement space a little bit more heavily than expected. I think traditionally these colder months have always been kind of viewed as like a downtime for demand, or maybe some time to like sit and regroup before things get really crazy come the new year and heading into January, right? But I think this is like an even more strong sign to like not think about these months that way necessarily. We should see like really strong, demand from homeowners, interest in completing projects, and the fact that a lot of folks will still be at home, I think, is even an even better sign, and an even better opportunity to continue to lean in and not skip a beat. Yeah, Patrick, curious to hear your thoughts, though.
No,
yeah.
I agree 1,000% with what you said there, Megan. This not traveling stat is a bit surprising, but when you consider it amidst the boom that we're in, you consider it amidst this really unprecedented level of demand and this shift in wallet, and that consumers are placing more preference for home improvement projects. There's evidence of that. It could be a long-term shift. So when we look at a seasonal change like winter, what's going to happen? I think people will continue to spend. We ask our experts, who are our colleagues and partners on the U.S. Remodeling Index, John Burns Real Estate Consulting. We ask them whether prices could rise to a point where people will back off of projects, and that could impact demand. We look for other factors that could limit demand. The long backlogs, like it's just going to take too long to get my project done, so I'm going to back out of the pro contractor market. Those are factors that I do think impact this stuff. But the underlying demand is really, really strong. So here's my advice. I'm going to get to the point for the contractors here. They have to be choosy. They have to find the folks that they want to work with first. Find the profitable jobs. Make sure your contracts are buttoned up so that you can pass along a price increase if the products rise in price during the interim of the contract. So I think it's a very complex time to be a contractor. With long backlogs, you would think that it would just be riches, and it's really not. It's a time to be choosy. It's a time to pick the right customers, know how to handle that communication with those folks, get them off to another contractor potentially in your area who could handle the job that you're saying no to. So I think it's going to be a great winter. I don't think there's a seasonal thing here happening. It's just demand is strong, and we got to watch out for these other factors.
Team, thank you so much. And Patrick, love that advice. That's why your killer expertise is being featured.
I actually wanted to, I don't know, Patrick, if you have like any more like insight or an opinion on this, but something that I hear from our professionals a lot is concerns around, canceling even the projects that they do want due to that like long lead time with install that we're experiencing right now. And I think there are a lot of, shortages both on the labor side and also on the supply chain side and the material side that are causing all that. Mm-hmm. And, based on what we've heard today, like it feels like there are some opportunities to kind of combat that fear a little bit, or I don't know, like what are you seeing, as far as trends go, or do you have any advice for our pros in terms of how to make that business stick that they want to stick despite all of these, challenges?
There's a lot of opinion about this. There's no one way to skin the cat. There's a number that home improvement folks, contractors watch very closely when their backlogs get long, like they are now. So they're selling projects for window repair, or replace windows, replace siding, decks and whatnot, that are way out into the future, into the first quarter of next year. And they don't like to see them get that long because they know that folks will cancel. Just something will happen. They'll find another person to do it, or they might come up with a better idea or spend the money differently. And that rescission rate is really what they're trying to combat. So as you suggest, Megan, one really important way is strong communication up front. Like, hey, this isn't going to happen until this time. But then when that time comes, you've got to deliver on those dates. So you've really got to make your systems rock solid and be sure that you're ready to go. Order the material ahead of time. Make sure that it's in your warehouse, or if they have a place to store it, and have that material on hand for the day. And then scheduling, getting your people out there, as well as other trades if they happen to be involved in the project, getting them all to lock in. So doing what you say you're going to do is really, really important right now, and communicating about it and over communicating. And there's more to it than that, obviously, but there's a ton of apps and technology and software that aid in that communication process available. And so we're seeing a lot of contractors get involved that way too.
Sure. That actually reminds me, one of the last webinars we ran was about communication throughout the home improvement process. And I think maybe an underserviced portion of that communication funnel, or like the customer journey, is the time from like, the paperwork being signed on the kitchen table out to that install date. And as we see that gaps widen, super important to have a communication strategy to, update, your customers on the status of their project. And I think that's a huge piece of things. If you do a good job of communicating, that rescission rate is going to look a whole lot better. Would be my thought there. So
I can add one quick thing to it if we have a second. There are some remodelers, particularly those that do bigger projects. They will map out the customer journey for them. They show a chart that shows emotions. Week 1, week 10. They were talking about big projects here. And they'll show that everybody's really excited when the project starts. But in the middle, somewhere very in the middle, everybody's unhappy. It seems like things aren't getting done fast enough. And then at the end, everybody, including the family dog, is happy. They're euphoric. And, being able to show people like, hey, the start's going to be great. The end is going to be great. We're going to get it done. But I just want you to know there's going to be this part in the middle here where we're going to have to stay on track. And I think that kind of communication is really important. It's never been more important.
I really love that. I'm going to chime in too. This has been such a stressful time that I think being able to show homeowners like that level of empathy, to be like, we understand, especially with these large scale projects, that this is going to really be frustrating and stressful. And we're giving you like a heads up that we understand that early, I think just sets up a better experience for everyone overall. So when the homeowner hits that, they're going to be like, oh yeah, I was told this was coming. I'm going to breathe through this. It's going to be okay. Which leads to a really happy homeowner at the end, and hopefully a repeat client.
Yeah, I mean, you could do a whole webinar, webcast on customer satisfaction and owning these customers for life. And increasingly, that's really, really important. Leave them happy, keep them in your CRM, communicate with them even when the project is completed, because it leads to more business and so much value in that. Companies like Guild Quality and others are really pioneering in that way, and more contractors are seeing the value in just what you're describing there, Cassie.
Amazing. Team, thank you.
I'll have to write that down.
Yeah, we'll do that. Very briefly, I know we're like nearing the end of our time. We just wanted, this is all in the ebook for our fabulous attendees. You'll be able to like dig into these stats and more, but we just broke it up by trade. So in this survey, we then splice this data out for our 4 core, which is solar, HVAC, windows, and roofing. So these are just some very brief highlights. Again, you can read more about them. Something we wanted to just note here is that our windows homeowners signal the highest that they want to pursue additional home improvement projects. So just if you're a windows contractor, that's probably important information to know. And of that, they were really heavily focused on the outdoor, so like patio, yard, pool sector. We also had 35% of homeowners needing to repair or replace window damage. So with 40, our highest was still saving money on electricity bills, but that's still a big chunk that's due to damage, or they're noticing that their windows aren't being efficient, rotting, letting air in and out. And the last that I just wanted to highlight here is 84% are hoping to spend $5,000 or less on their home improvement projects. But coupled with that information about energy efficiency and looking to save money, I think there's some real opportunities there. I'll keep going unless you have anything to chime in on. Perfect.
I think the only thing there really quickly is that I think that $5,000 or less stat could feel a little scary to the pros out there. Like typically the home improvement partners we work with are looking for, multi-window replacement type of jobs. To Patrick's point, if you've got that large install backlog rather, you're wanting to go after those larger ticket size projects. And I think the operative word there is hope. I think a lot of folks are kind of hoping, or not maybe understanding the scale or the costs that are associated with these sort of projects. And I think this offers an opportunity to not be so scared of those conversations, and then to also lean into those energy efficiency value propositions to demonstrate, the value of, better materials, long-term energy savings, to take some of that fear and sticker shock away from like the scale of the project itself, or the upfront cost rather. So just wanted to add that in there.
Megan, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. We know, like from other surveys, that upwards of 80% of our homeowners haven't created a budget for their project. So yep. I'm glad you singled out the word hope, because a lot of them just aren't aware of how much things cost, especially in this boom and things just becoming more expensive and taking longer. So good education piece. Our next trade that we wanted to highlight is roofing. So I really love our roofing homeowners. They are always outliers to our other trades. They are extremely stressed out. Again, we really look at this as like a once in a lifetime project, usually due to damage. Yeah, 73% are coming to us because their roof has a leak or they had a big storm and they need to fix it quickly. What I wanted to highlight here too, for the first time that we've asked this, is over 50% of our homeowners who are coming to us for a roofing project also plan to install gutters or gutter guards during their project. And so that was the first time we've really surveyed about this. Megan, I'm going to toss that to you if you have any insights there.
I mean, I think this presents an opportunity. I know supply chains are super challenging right now, but I think this is a bigger signal than there ever has been, or maybe always has been, that when it's possible, it makes sense for home improvement companies to diversify and offer more products, right? Like if you're able to build a successful engine, basically that can market and acquire customers, just makes sense to offer complementary services, as long as you can get, the supply chain and all the margins sorted out and all of the complexities associated with it. But I think this is a big signal that, hey, it makes sense to, offer complementary products when possible, and also to make sure you're asking those questions during appointment qualifying conversations, and of course, during the sales appointment itself. Yeah, so that's my initial thoughts. Patrick, I don't know if you have anything to add there.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think you're right on target there. And I want to add an aspect to roofing in particular, because so much of it these days is driven by storms. Roofing is a little bit different category. It tends to be under repair a lot. There's a lot of insurance work that's done. Seeing that 50% adding gutters or gutter guards at the time of the project, I mean, I think there is opportunity in that moment where they're getting a check from an insurance company, and hey, it would only be a few bucks more while the contractor's out there. I think there are opportunities like that for contractors, and the roofers that we know or that read our magazine, they're pretty adept at that. And certainly if that's not in a contractor's current dance step, then they should add it.
Team thinking. Just keeping us moving a little bit. Our next trade is HVAC, which we know is a little bit tricky for us. It's usually an emergency, even though there's a potential for homeowners to save a lot of money every month. This survey, we asked the HVAC homeowners like a question just a little bit different. We're like, how can we best help you? And we learned that 52% of these homeowners are coming to us to compare contractor quotes. I believe from our last survey, upwards of like 92% of homeowners signal they want to compare 2 or more quotes. And so that's just good to know. The bulk of HVAC contractors are just trying to get like a baseline and see if they're paying a fair price. 21% also signaled they're coming to us for just budgeting assistance. Again, an emergency, want to make sure they're spending enough money. We offer a few resources to help them plan for their project quickly. And also 65% of them are planning to invest a good chunk of change, over $2,500 and like less than $10,000, which could also signal that they know this complex system needs a bigger overhaul. Maybe they're predicting they need ductwork or a furnace and, you know, an air conditioner. And lastly here, 45% of HVAC homeowners are 60 plus, at least in this batch, and we'll continue to report on that. I'm going to move to our next trade if that works for our fabulous team.
Sure.
So our last trade spotlight, solar. What really want to highlight here is we asked these homeowners, these fabulous homeowners, are you aware of the federal residential solar tax credit, which has been in existence for a few years now, but is still operating in 2021. And almost 60% said they were not aware of this. For us, we feel this is really critical information for our homeowner and might require a conversation on the contractor professional front, because they are looking to save money. They're more likely than our other trades to be in their second home or their forever home. So they're more seasoned, they're looking for a longer term solution, but also are not aware of all the incentives being offered to help them finance and make this project a reality. Anything else?
Megan, I'll let you go first if you've got something.
Sure.
But when I look at this, I'll just jump in real quick then.
Go for it. Yeah.
Solar is a really distinct craft and product, and it involves multiple trades. And roofing contractors are getting involved in this, but it's sophisticated. As you indicate, Cassie, this is a sophisticated sale. There's a lot of parts of the sales process that need to be handled with the consumer in the right way. Marketing, it starts with marketing, and the marketing has to be done in a certain way. We are seeing some big home improvement contractors dip their toe into test markets for photovoltaics. And it is exciting to see some of these genuine marketers from the home improvement side of the world come out and bring their ideas to the solar market. So we're watching it very closely, and it's a different sale, frankly, than a traditional building product replacement. It's much more sophisticated, allows a lot more time.
Patrick, thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's the end of our survey. I want to plug a few more things. So all of these stats and more are coming to your inbox, are going to be sent to you. It is our Modernize Fall Homeowner Insights. You receive it these are all free. You'll receive it after this webinar. We also have other ebooks for free to help contractors and professionals navigate this year. Our goal is to just make your lives easier. We've also launched a podcast last year, Built Better. It's available on Spotify and iTunes. If you're driving to a job site or just want to listen to other incredible industry experts, please give us a listen. And if you have questions, we'll be available for another couple of minutes that we can help answer. Otherwise, you can always email us at modmail@modernize.com. And the last thing I wanted to note, our winner is for our fabulous Yeti cooler is Natalie Odom. Natalie Odom with ATW Gutter Protection. We will be in contact with you and getting you a cooler shortly. To everyone who joined us today, thank you so much. To our really brilliant panelists, thank you so much for your time. It is a joy to meet with you virtually and hear your expertise, and look forward to doing it again soon.
Thanks for
Well,
having
thank
me,
you, Cassie. And to the winner of the Yeti, yeah, I've got to say those things are awesome. Like, they're not like, I know people say like, oh, like what's so good about a $300 cooler? They're pretty incredible. So I hope you enjoy that. They really are what they're chalked up to be, in my opinion. So
Yeah, feel free to send one my way too if you have an extra.
yeah.
Don't threaten us with a good time. We'll spoil you.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you
Goodbye,
so much,
everyone.
team. Yeah, thank you so much for everyone who attended. We'll be in touch soon.
Sure.
Bye-bye.